This podcast episode is brought to you by Sonatype, your software supply chain security platform. So just head over to sonatype.com to find and fix critical security vulnerabilities. And listen, over 15 million developers trust Sonatype. So if you are looking to develop smarter and not harder in a secure way, go over to sonatype.com. Seriously, you won't regret it. Anyways, on to the episode.
HackerNoon Podcast.
I would love to know a little bit more about the cybersecurity industry in Pakistan and what that is like.
So women in Pakistan, I will come to cybersecurity, but if we talk about the tech industry, they cover like 10%. And then when we talk about cybersecurity, I guess that would be like 5%.
Picture this. I am 17. I'm listening to this podcast. I'm like, wait, I can be a CISO? What do I do next?
First thing, what you need to do is just be yourself. You don't need, so I wouldn't say just go and just spend all of your 24 hours doing the research and just study. No.
If I am a CISO or a woman in a higher position in cybersecurity, how can I keep that open door to help young women become cybersecurity experts?
I knew that she had so much potential just from the things she was creating. I spot her talent, and that's how she is in Idenfo. So I guess for women, in CISO roles, I would suggest that be part of all of these communities like VICES, SheSec, whatever's work, in your area. Always be part of those communities. You might find, great people in there.
Hi, hackers. Welcome back for another episode of the HackerNoon Podcast. I have an update from last time we recorded. I finished reading that book. Oh my gosh, it is not a new age shitty romance novel. It's a real story about how someone created a Bitcoin exchange and then unexpectedly died, and then the unraveling of their Bitcoin fraud. I don't know how I missed this back in the day, but it happened and it was a riveting story. So to the author, I'm sorry I called your novel a shitty romance novel. It's not a great piece of literature, to be honest, but the story is riveting. Highly recommend. It's called Bitcoin Widower. Anyways, enough of that. I also want to say happy anniversary, hackers, because it's our 1-year anniversary of podcasting together. So thank you so much if you have been with me the whole year. I love you and I appreciate you. Don't forget to leave me that review as a present, maybe. But anyways, today on the show, I have some very lovely guests that I'm very excited to talk about cybersecurity with. I have Misbah, who is the head of security at Idenfo, as well as Farza, who is the security analyst at Idenfo. So welcome to the podcast, guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Why don't we start? Maybe Misbah, could you introduce yourself and more about what you do?
Yeah, sure. So, Misbah Fatima, I'm heading Information Security Department at Idenfo. So, it's a fintech, UK-based fintech. It's a startup. We are in the industry for like a year almost. So my role was very difficult because I had to create the whole department from scratch here, and which was not, limited to one specific, you can say, subject matter. We had to create different departments, establish different roles, establish the whole team. My background is kind of like a mix. I have worked in different cybersecurity domains. I have worked as a SOC analyst. I have worked as a GRC analyst. I have worked in database and application security. So I have worked around different cybersecurity domains and also in different industries. Like I have worked in military, in FMCG, and now I'm working in financial sector. I have been a part of SheSec. It's a great community for women. We work not very hard, but we work hard to, bring all of these women who are doing or thriving in their fields, and we bring them together in one single platform, and then we just chat. We just chat about security. So yeah, that's me. That's what I like to do. I like to work in cybersecurity. I like to work for women. So yeah.
Okay, yes, love that. We're gonna get into SheSec in a minute. I have questions, but first, Farza, could you tell me about who you are and what you do?
So I'm Farza Ashraf from Pakistan, and I also work in Idenfo as a security analyst. I am in the cybersecurity for like past 2 years, and I'm one of the core member of SheSec Pakistan. So my day-to-day job includes, testing like organization assets, preparing documents, procedures. My job revolves around a mix of cyber domain. It involves offensive side, it involves the GRC side as well. So I am kind of, jumping here and there within the organization and managing security with Misbah as obviously. She is also my boss as she's heading the department. So yeah, this thing. From the background perspective, I'm a telecommunication engineer, and I turned myself into a cybersecurity professional. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, so the other thing besides your work that joins you together is that you're both with SheSec and you're both based in Pakistan. So I would love to know a little bit more about the cybersecurity industry in Pakistan and what that is like. Maybe can you tell me what is the mix between women and men in the cybersecurity industry in Pakistan, would you say?
So women in Pakistan, I will come to cybersecurity, but if we talk about the tech industry, they cover like 10%. And then when we talk about, you can say cybersecurity, I guess that would be like 5%. So we don't have a lot of women in cybersecurity, and we don't have any women as a CISO, right now as a CISO. So it's not very good, and our goal is to, change that. So in cybersecurity, so when we talk about cybersecurity in Pakistan, so it's been focused mostly by the banking sector. And now you can say the medical industry, the FMCGs, they're also, trying to, you can say, being fast forward in the race. But it's been the cybersecurity industry. It's been led by banking industry and financial industry, and they are you can say the most well established. When we talk about, they have all of these, roles and all of these domains in cybersecurity. But when we talk about the other industries, like you can say FMCGs or military, they have one person or two people responsible for all of these domains. So they would be your go-to person for application security and for creating all of these procedures and everything. So they are in the developing state, and the banking sector, it's more developed.
Right. Okay. 5% is very, very low, though. Why do you think that there's such a low number of women? Is there a higher barrier to entry into cybersecurity in Pakistan for women than men?
Okay. So I guess it's because right now the cybersecurity industry, it's especially in Pakistan, it's kind of like not very, but it's newish. It got you can say it got famous. It got the fame in 2014. So there are very fewer people when we compare to IT in cybersecurity. So I guess that's one of the reasons people are getting aware. Now the universities are opening, cybersecurity as a bachelor as well. So So there's been some talk around it. We have our international information security policy, but it will take some time, and I guess with time there will be there will be more awareness, and with awareness people will get to know, and they will be like, okay, yeah, I want this to be my career path. So I guess the biggest reason is that people are not aware, number one. And second thing could be especially women I mean, they, since there's lack of awareness even for both male and female, I guess it automatically by default makes a woman to in less percentage, because in Pakistan when we compare the education and when we compare the literacy rate and with men to women, it's obviously women are not that much educated, so it could also be one of the factors. But yeah, number one is awareness.
Right. And Farza, when you were getting into cybersecurity, what was your experience like with the mix of like gender in terms of like maybe your entry level positions, or like when you were learning in school? What was that like for you?
I was lucky enough that I didn't face the gender discrimination, but there are other things that were challenging when I wanted to get into cybersecurity. So when I started, when I decided to, I will be going in cybersecurity, the first challenge that I had was when I was going through the interview process and HR process, they asked me about certification. So this was the first most challenge that I faced. And although I had the bachelor's degree in telecommunication engineering, in which I learned about networking, security, cryptography, and I had the concept, but they always wanted to have some kind of cert, like CEH or other basic level cert, which for me was expensive. And I always thought, why do I need a certification to get an entry level job or to get an internee position? Because I have my concept clear. So I didn't invest myself in certification. But yeah, when there was no demand of certification like CEH or other certification, the organization wanted me to work for kind of free and unpaid internship. The kind of excuses HR or a technical recruiter makes, like you are freshy, you need to learn, you are not up to the mark. But this was a challenge that I faced a lot. But then I somehow figure out, like here I learned from here and there and did some basic course and free course that you kind of get from Udemy and YouTube. So that's how I polished myself, and eventually I started off as a writer. I started as a cybersecurity writer, and that's how I got an entry-level job in cybersecurity, and later on I transitioned that into the security analyst position.
Yeah, okay, wait, I want to ask more questions about getting your first job in cybersecurity, because like you don't have the certification, so you have to do what you were saying is, to clarify, is that you had to do your own cybersecurity writing and publish yourself so that you could prove that you had enough skill to get your first job in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And what were you writing about at the time?
So I used to write, some random stuff, kind of, I used to write. I cannot specify what I used to write, but my friends knew that I write. So one day my friend, called me and asked me if I'm ready to write something for there was a cybersecurity conference happening in Pakistan. So he wanted to know if I'm interested or not. So at that point, I thought that it may be, a starting point for me to get into the cybersecurity. So I instantly said yes to him, and I started off writing for that conference. And by the time the conference was going on, there was a person in a panel discussion who came to know that I wrote everything, and then he somehow manages to get my details from the organizers and get me on board. And that was a cybersecurity consulting firm based in America. So that was my first job. And yeah, so there I used to write blogs, articles, data sheet, their kind of methodology processes, what they send to their clients, and their social media posts, their graphics. So that's how I learned more and more about cybersecurity, and I must say that blogs and that writing really shaped me as a infosec enthusiast or infosec professional. That was good experience.
Right.
Yeah.
But to help you get into that conference, to get your first job, you had a connection, a male connection though, that helped you get into the conference. But I want to understand, like, how important is community building, especially like amongst women in cybersecurity, to help each other get jobs, or like does that also play a role, and is that why SheSec is in existence?
I believe community building is important for everyone, and not just specific for cybersecurity or for women. I believe it is important for everyone, be it male or be it female. Because when you communicate, people get to know you and people get to know about your experience, your skill set. So, most of the time you get something from your connection. So when you talk about community building, this is our motive at SheSec also, to upskill each other, to bring women at the same platform, so you can say they can share their experiences, their skills, and inspire other women and motivate fellow women. So I believe this is important to build each other, and in community you collectively learn and you collectively grow as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you think that without the advocation of SheSec, of other women to build each other up in the tech industry and the cybersecurity industry, that we wouldn't have come this far?
Yes, absolutely. There is no doubt. We all women should uplift each other, and where we have come this far, and now across the globe, everyone is representing us. Like every woman is representing us. So whenever when women get on the in the spotlight, she opens a door for other women as well. So we get inspired by them, we get motivated by them, and that's how it becomes a chain. It became a chain. So you kind of see a person who is going up and creating a door, opening a door for other person, or you can say I'm not getting the exact word for it, but yeah, whenever women achieve a milestone, she inspired the other women who are doubting their self, who are not believing in them. So
yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly how I feel as well, in terms of like women and people in my community in cybersecurity and technology in general, is like when I like the support of the community, because when I feel challenges or when I feel like I'm alone in experiencing something, then there's other people who are there to say like, no, we're here too. Like, that's real. We feel you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So when you see there are male who are doing big stuff, and there are so much gender discrimination in the world. So sometimes you get into the self-doubt and not believing in yourself, like you are a female, you cannot do this. But when you see other women doing it, you get this spark within yourself, like if she's doing it, I can do it also. Even if maybe I might not do the best like her, but somehow I will be managing to do making something out of myself, that kind of motivation.
Right. Yeah. Misbah, I would love to hear from you then, like, given this conversation, do you think cybersecurity is actually a good field for women to get into, and would you recommend it to young women?
Yeah, definitely. I think cybersecurity is a really good field for women, because I feel we are very curious. beings, we really love to know more and more. And for someone who is very curious, who always calculates everything, who loves to do research, irrespective of the gender, for anyone, I think it's an excellent field. For someone who is naturally good at identifying all the possible scenarios of what could go wrong in any situation, InfoSec
Yes.
is best. Yeah. So if you are an overthinker, you are going to do great things in information security.
Overthinking,
I agree.
over-preparedness. Yes, okay.
Yeah. You're going
Yeah,
to thrive.
definitely. And also maybe like all of the attention to detail, like the little things that might get
Yes,
missed.
yes.
Okay, yes.
And that's why I think cybersecurity makes I think it fits perfect for women. Every woman should at least try to do something in it. They will do wonders.
Yeah. And what was your experience like entering into the industry?
It was so okay. It was actually really interesting. So I started as a software engineer. I did my bachelor's in software engineering. So blah blah blah. Entry level job. So in that domain around me, everyone was a guy developer, and so they thought they would transfer me into some other department and get their favorite person on my spot, and then they transferred me into information security department. Little did they know, I actually when I started to read into it, my first project was ISO 27001. And when I was like, okay, this is interesting, I want to do something in it. So I left software engineering and I enrolled myself in master's program. And that's how my career actually started. And thanks to that guy who, transferred me into InfoSec, I'm very thankful to him. Although his motive were not, in my favor, but it actually turned out. I think if I had been in software engineering, I wouldn't be doing so good.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. It's funny how these things work out.
Yeah.
It's all about the people you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when you were in your master's program, what was that like? Was it also very male dominated in schooling?
No. Obviously,
Okay.
So we had like 40 students in my class, and I think we had 10 female and 30, so obviously they were more male. So that's how every except for medical schools, I guess there are more women in MBBS in medical schools, but when it comes to engineering or tech, there are always more male.
Okay, but that's like 25% as opposed to like the 5-10% that actually enter the industry. So where does the disparity come?
I guess it comes so information security department. So in Pakistan, not everyone who go through the education, they end up getting a job, especially when it comes to women. The society, the culture is quite different when we compare it to the West. So this also contributes. But another thing is definitely women face more scrutiny. They are being judged more when it comes to male. So that also contributes a lot. Even in the master's program, our teachers, they don't usually give it to you. They don't usually think, from the first impression that you are going to be someone getting the 4.0 or making great projects and stuff. So I have faced this a lot in my professional life as well as in my when I was getting the education, because this is how I was judged. I think most women face this as well, that this mindset that they would only be good at the documentation, taking notes and stuff, right?
Right.
So yeah.
So at
there were
what
more
point
women.
did you realize then that you could do the bigger things?
I think I realized it when I got my first job as a SOC analyst. I was working in Pakistan Navy. And so the environment there, although I was the only female, I was the only one there. And we had a team of 30 or 40, and I was, the only one representing my gender. The captain there, he actually was a nice person. He did not discriminate. He gave me enough room to prove myself. And so when I started making the rules, my first scene was Q radar, and I knew nothing about it. And I know I put in the extra work. I used to come home, research. I used to, there was a little bit of competition, not little, a lot of competition with the other male guys. It was very heaty, you would say, but it gave me the boost I needed, because I always had this female ego with me, because I wanted to prove them wrong that yeah, I can do it. And I presented in front of the chief naval staff. It's a really big deal. They are heading the Navy, So all of this gave me the confidence, and all of this, made me who I am. And then I landed my second job, and I was very confident by then. So
Right.
Yeah, the environment matters.
Okay, let me tell you about this theory that I have about why there are not as many women in IT, in cybersecurity in general. It's that, like, men are raised with the notion that they already can do those jobs. Like, right from the start, like at birth, they're like, yeah, you could be the CEO or, the CISO or whatever. Like, they just inherently believe that they can't do that. And women, like, you're going to be 25 and then you're going to be like, oh, that could be me? Wait, me? So, like, you have lost so much time because of the societal, like, norms and pressure, because you aren't born with the idea that you could be a CISO. Do you resonate with that?
I mean, I was born in the environment where this was not the mindset, but yeah, definitely in the schooling system, or the aunts and, or the people, they have this mentality here and there. And I guess the environment I had, it made me believe that. So my goal in every interview, people ask, what do you want to do? And I was answering, I want to be the first female CISO in Pakistan. And because I wanted that, and I wanted to do as early as I can. That's what I had in mind. But for most of the women, it might come a little bit late because of, the environment they are born into. So it really matters, how your parents are, right, how they're bringing you up. And there's,
but even still, so you have to trailblaze your way through that. Like, I'm gonna be the first, and like they just won't have to have that issue. The way is already paved.
I mean, there were a few laughs as well, that how can so female came next, but the first thing that came before female was the lack of experience, that I did not have 10, 15, 20 years of experience with me, and they were like, oh, it's going to take time, blah blah blah. And then what else you want to do you just want a title? I was like, no, I want this title to make myself stand in the society, so that I can create more ventures. I want to open a consultancy firm and etc. And they had this on their faces, except for fewer people, that okay, right, she a kid with a dream, that kind of face. So which was not very motivating. But you have if you want to do something, you have to work for it. And I guess women have to work twice as hard as men in any industry. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think especially in IT or finance or these things that, like, I don't know, maybe it's the like level of education required, or I don't know what it is, but hopefully we can improve or increase the amount of women who are entering the cybersecurity industry or STEM in general. So picture this. I am 17. I'm listening to this podcast. I'm like, wait, I can be a CISO? What do I do next?
Okay, so first thing, what you need to do is, just be yourself. You don't need, so I wouldn't say just go and just spend all of your 24 hours doing the research and just study. No. You don't need to have all the right answers and know everything. If you don't know something, say, I'm sorry, I need to look into it, and then go back and learn. There's no shame in it, acceptance. And then when you go home, so from your, university, from your college, when you go home, always ensure that you give 1 hour to yourself and half an hour to cybersecurity. Take some time, take some minutes, search what's happening, what's new. You can download one of those apps, like I have Cyber News, just to be informed. They report all the hacks around the world and how that happened. It's always good to know. It's always good to be up to date, and it's very important in cybersecurity. And always be prepared that when you are going to enter into this field, there's not going to be a 9 to 5. You need to be prepared for it. You can get a call in the middle of night, and you have to be resilient. You have to respond at that moment. And last but not least, don't see other women with talents as a competition, but always try to see an opportunity of trade. I see like that, and what you're trading knowledge, and you're gaining experience. So that's how it works. So these are a couple of advices that I would give to anyone. Anyone can be the first female, CISO. If men can do it, you can do it as well. We have the same brain. We just need to, put in the extra effort, but in the end, it's worth it.
Amazing. Yes, absolutely agree. And Farza, what it would be your advice for a 17-year-old who wants to become a CISO?
So I totally go with Misbah saying, but I would say that 17 years old too. It is good to aim for being a CISO, but maybe when I would definitely say that it is good to aim for big thing and aiming for CISO, but always keep a room for yourself. So there might be a time when you are 21 and you may decide that I don't want to be a CISO, rather I would want to open a company for myself, or open a consulting firm, or mind change kind of thing. So always keep a room for extra stuff, and work hard, and most importantly, believe in yourself. There might be times when you come to know like you are not doing good, or you feel depressed, or you feel like you're not giving your best. So I would say that it will happen and it will take time. Never lose hope, and always believe in yourself. If such situation come across that you feel you are not doing good, take rest, take a break, and restart it. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think my advice would be that when you enter that boardroom with 20 different men and you're the only woman, you pull that seat out and you sit down, because you deserve to sit there. It does not matter. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. And on the flip side then, Misbah, let's go back to you. If I am a CISO or a woman in a higher position in cybersecurity, how can I keep that open door to help young women become cybersecurity experts?
Yeah, so interestingly, I was part of SheSec, and Farza was part of SheSec. We both did not know each other, but we knew each other from SheSec, and I knew that she had so much potential just from the things she was creating. I spot her talent. So I guess, and that's how she is in Idenfo. So I guess for women, in CISO roles, I would suggest that be part of all of these communities like Voices, SheSec, whatever's work, in your area. Always be part of those communities. You might find, great people in there, and communicate, build relations, and speak on platforms. Let other people know your story. You are going to inspire so many other women. So just keep on speaking, keep on sharing, and keep on everywhere. Every other person know that how you got here. When you are interviewing, give. I mean, it won't be a favoritism, but it's I think we owe it to ourselves to give more chances to women, build them, transfer the knowledge without hesitation, and I guess that's the best you can do, when you are interviewing. So interview as many women as you can. So
right.
That's how you're going to open the door for them.
Mm-hmm. And Farza, aside from Misbah, do you have any mentors or people that you look up to in the cybersecurity industry that you could share?
As I said earlier, I have been lucky enough that I didn't face the gender discrimination. So yeah, I have many male mentors, but when it comes to female mentor, I have Misbah. Yeah, no doubt. I have Misbah, and I when I joined SheSec, and we collected a pool of women from all across Pakistan. We reach out as many women in cybersecurity in Pakistan as much we can, and I'm literally inspired by many of them. You can name it. There's a girl named Huma, there's Sidra, there's Paula. I'm inspired by everyone. That if you talk about any particular like cybersecurity celebrity or public figure, then there is a Rana Khalil. She makes excellent video on technical stuff. She has her YouTube channel, and there's Farah Hawa. Yeah. So I look up to them when it comes to taking notes and learning things from learning free of cost, knowing each other. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, yes. Awesome. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining the podcast. I really appreciated it, and I loved our chat about women in cybersecurity. I always love to talk about this. So Misbah and Farza, where can we find you and what you're working on online?
Everyone can find me over LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Farza Ashraf. And I'm also on Twitter. It's iFarzah, IFARZAH. Yeah, anyone can find me there. But I'm more active on LinkedIn.
And Misbah?
Same. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find Misbah Fatima Zadi. And on Twitter as well, my handle is misbah.fz. So I'm also, like, what we are collectively working on is, building a cybersecurity risk management tool. So you can also find me on GitHub as well if you want to know more about it. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you very much for joining the podcast. You can find HackerNoon online at HackerNoon on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Don't forget to visit hackernoon.com to read your technical stories. And wow, thanks for making it this far in the podcast. Don't forget to check your ego and your bias at the door. Thank you so much. And stay weird, and I'll see you on the internet. Bye.
HackerNoon Podcast.